Deepika Tiwari, and welcome to another episode at UReInvent. Today, we are going to be talking about challenges that parents face with teenagers. This is the third and the final episode of the parenting series that Veena and I started. In fact, for the very first time, we will be taking questions from parents directly, and I will be posing those questions to Veena, and she will answer those questions right here, right now. Also, one of the parents would actually join us in, sharing her concerns, and Veena would try to alleviate those. Just to share with you, one of the reasons why there is a huge gap between the episode, 1 and 2 and 3 is precisely this. We tried to get parents to come to this platform and share their concern, but timing issues and my own work issues, Veena's work issues, we were not able to synchronize it. So what we have done is that, we have taken those questions, and I will take the liberty to answering those questions. And stay tuned, and let's see what Veena has to share. Thank you so much, Veena. Thank you for taking out the time once again. And like I was sharing with our viewers a few minutes back, that this is a very new format, and we are trying it for the first time at UReInvent, that parents have actually sent us questions. So instead of, discussing some generic challenges, we are going to, share some questions from parents directly. And we have a parent who has joined us also, who will be sharing her challenge with you directly again. And maybe you can coach her how to figure out, what she's facing with her child. So, shall I get on to the first question straight away?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so the first question was from a gentleman, and his, son is 15, 16. I think that, the age group is not so important. He's a teenager. So I think that's not at all, right? And he says that, every day, every situation, I struggle with the fact that how do I respect my teenagers, my child's autonomy, their personality, and yet guide them in a direction which is good for them, safe for them, and healthier for them. This is coming from a place that, by now the child has developed his or her personality, right? They have a mind of their own. Of course, my 5-year-old also has a mind of her own. So imagine by 15, 16, what happens, right? And then you cannot kind of use force or any such thing. So what is the way to get across to them and steer them in the right direction? So over to you.
Yeah. So first of all, why is the need to do that?
Because I know best, and then my child should follow what I'm telling or what I think.
So that's where is the mistake. So somewhere I'm not, there's a theoretical understanding that my child is grown up, but that logical understanding is not there, that my child is grown up. Right. We still feel as parents the need to guide our children, right? So we try to give them examples from our life, give them examples of how we were when we were them, give them examples of how my friends' children would do, okay, right? And we always talk to them the best case scenarios. How many best case scenarios are there?
Yeah. 2 out of 10.
Maybe I'm not even sure if there is 2:10 ratio.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'm not sure of that.
Correct? And the examples that we are giving, we are only picking up the rosy part of it.
Yeah.
Be selective in that, sharing that example.
Okay. So what, and Shikha, I have been repeating this. What is the need to do that? What is that I am not satisfied that I want this to change? So largely, at any age group, okay, where there is something unrest within me, I think I should reflect and find out what are my actions which are bothering me, that is asking or that is seeking change in somebody. Right? Okay. And I think the time this is answered, that the desire to get more, the expectations goes off, right?
Yeah. I think the
Okay.
desire mostly is that, if your child is waking up early, eating an apple, eating an egg, eating everything healthy through the day, studying, getting 90%, it reflects on how good I am as a parent.
And I don't think
My
even that
success.
will satisfy a parent.
I'm sorry?
I'm not sure even that will satisfy the parent,
Yeah, we don't know that.
because there would be something where we will keep nudging on. See, this is where I say parenting is a game of authority.
Mm,
We are authoritative.
mm.
So it is like, the boss and the worker,
So
or
who
kam
gets to
nikalo.
be the boss at what age? So this
Yeah.
understanding itself is twisted, right, Veena? That, you got to, we've talked about this in our previous episodes that you did, that it's more not a parent, but a partner. How do you collaborate should be the goal versus how do you get them to do this, right?
Right. Okay. I have parents who say that my son gets up at 10 o'clock on Sunday. So what? What will he do if he wakes up at 8 o'clock? Tell me that. I think my questions to those parents would be that,
Yeah.
Madam, I have no problem. It's just that my son doesn't wake up early in the morning.
Yeah.
So, what I'm trying to say is we are good enough to identify problem in our children. We are blessed with that instinct.
Yes. Only the
I
wrongs.
think only the wrongs.
Yeah.
We are continuously improvement seekers.
Yeah. And I think what you shared earlier, that's a beautiful piece, because we have to kind of ask ourselves, why is there is and this urge to fix the other person? Because there is something lacking in me. Why do I have to, even if it's my own child, why does my child have to score 90% for me to feel good about myself, right? And I've shared this with you earlier also, that like my daughter, she's not attentive in class, if left to herself. But what else do you expect from a 5.5-year-old child? So
No, I'm amazed you are saying this. I have seen parents who are expecting their 5-year-old to know the tables till 20.
wow.
They are real times. I know parents who want them to get into White Hat Junior Coding Championship.
5-year-old.
I want them. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. See, it is we who is, allowing these people to come up with more ideas to create
Invested our
competitions,
mind. Yeah.
in our mind, and keep invalidating that,
Yeah.
I'm not blessed with the right one.
Right one. Right. And that's where the pressure, because we didn't do well in our childhood, so there is a projection. And if my child also doesn't do well, it is a dual failure, because I failed as a person and I am now failed as a parent also.
Right.
Great. Because you talked about it, I am going to pick up this question that, and this is also actually shared by one of the parents, that how do you instill healthy habits of waking up in the morning, eating an apple every day, and studying in time, going for a workout? How do you do that? And this is not just right now. This is because once these habits are formed, they will probably, I don't know, I have not been able to form that habit yet, but they will probably stick around for life. So, what do you do that? How do you do that?
So again, Shikha, I'm little, I don't know if I should say this, but I have, my own daughter doesn't wake up before 10 o'clock, right? And I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah.
So probably her not waking up at 10 is maybe a healthy habit for me, because I feel that, she gets just Sunday to relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise throughout the week, she has her school, her homeworks, assignment, house chores, this, that, so much on their plate. And I do not allow her to relax on one day. right? If I still start contemplating on what is healthy, okay,
Yeah.
I really don't know, and I think I should also look at what is healthy for me and what is healthy
For my
by
child.
her in her own outlook, right?
So
So she tells me, Mama, Sunday, I'm not waking up before 10. And I'm like, okay.
yeah.
So I'm really sorry, people will grudge on me.
Yeah, you're like, you didn't give us the answers, So
Yeah.
so I think what you're saying is that one is that, question yourself, why is there, such a need for you to fix the other person? The other you're saying is that, manage your expectations. I mean,
I think it's more than managing expectation, Shikha. It is also understanding, does a certain habit is looked in the same way. If we define a habit healthy, when I look at it as healthy, does my child also looks at it as healthy?
that's the important question.
Right? Okay. So waking up, let's say waking up. Okay. And I think this is one very important problem of all the parents, that our children don't wake up early.
Mm.
Right? So let's say waking up.
Mm-hmm.
So now for you, waking up is a healthy habit. Science has proved, yoga says,
Mm.
Rishi Muni says, everybody says, that waking up is healthy. I
Mm-hmm.
do not deny that. But
Right.
then, if your child also believes that it is healthy,
Mm.
and if they do not believe it, why?
Mm-hmm.
If they want that extra relaxation,
Mm-hmm.
can I be okay with that? Is that out of 7 days, one day if they are late, does it really play so much toll on their body? Does it actually disrupt their, the internal system? No.
So putting this expectation aside, how do we kind of, what are we doing to kind of, ensure, or again, creating an environment where they are making the right choices for them? What are we doing there? And how do we do
See,
that?
again,
Mm.
Shikha, I have problems with these questions. I'll tell you why.
Mm.
When I'm allowing my child to make a choice,
Mm-hmm.
I should also believe that they are making right choice,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If they are making wrong choices, I'm there to support.
Mm-hmm.
But do I stand by their choices?
Mm.
That's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Because somewhere I want to make choices for them. So I'm unhappy with their choices,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to make choices for them, because
Right.
they are right for my frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unhappy with their choices.
Mm.
I'm not allowing my child to go through that experience of making a choice, it turning to be wrong, learning from it, and then changing their, rewiring them. I don't give them that opportunity at all.
Mm. Of
We are obsessed to do everything right in our child's world.
right.
So that obsession sits on my mind. It keeps me thinking, evaluating all the time. It makes me anxious that, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right way? Have
Mm.
I done something wrong? Am I the right parent? Okay, so we
Yeah.
start invalidating ourselves.
Ourselves. You're right. I remember a couple of, I mean, this, making the choice part reminded me a couple of months back, my brother and his family was here. So my older nephew is, I think, almost 19 or 20 now. But for us, he's a kid, right? Because we remember him as a little boy still struggling to walk. And so, of course, he's in college and he has his own schedule of classes. And sometimes the classes start at 6 o'clock, sometimes they don't start until 11. Uh, I did not see him missing a single class.
Mm.
But I also saw him playing a lot of video games, and I don't even know what game he was playing. He had his headphone on and he was doing something. And I'm guessing it must be some firing game or something like that, running game. But what I'm saying is, yes, the constant, plugging of the headphones was a bit of irritation for me. But honestly speaking, like you said, the irritation was coming from the place that I want to talk to this boy. I want to know what's going on with him. You know, outside of that, whether you play video games or you play, I mean, you go down and play cricket or you go to the market, I really don't, mind that. But it's the connection. I want to know what's going on in your world. But I have stayed away from these children for so long that, I have not now developed that, relationship that they will open up. Of course, we tease, oh, you must be talking to your girlfriend and, all of those things. But
No. So Shikha, there would be other things also. Probably you might also be feeling ignored. You would also be feeling ki, when I was longing to speak with me, he would also want to talk to
would be
me.
longing, right. Which is not true, especially for teenagers, because they have a world of their own.
Yes.
Right. So I think parents need to figure out, move away from the good and bad, yes and no, right and wrong a little bit, and see what is working for their children, their family, and what are the goals that your child is trying to achieve, and is he or she moving towards that or not, and then kind of create a structure. And by 15-16, your children are old enough to create a structure for themselves. They just need that ownership that if I create it, I will stick to it.
See, I'll give you one example here. I was handling a case. Okay. Same thing, he's not responsive. He doesn't take ownership. He's 17. He doesn't wake up for his classes and all that. I said, if he doesn't wake up, why do you wake him up?
Let him miss the class.
No, ma'am, he'll miss classes. So what? Let him miss classes. 1 day, 2 day, 1 week. After that, he will be like fed up from you that, oh, my mom is not going to wake me up. I have to manage my time. He will do something about it. But are we ready to wait for that week?
Yes.
No. So, we want them to change, but we are the ones who are pulling their strings and thinking, nahi beta, I'm there.
Right. Well, that's beautiful. I read somewhere that, the children who forget always have somebody who's always reminding them.
Yeah.
Because mom will take care of it. No, why do I have to stress my brain?
Yes.
Great. Wonderful, Veena. Let's move on to the second question, which is from the parent who has actually joined us here. And so great. Thank you, Veena. Thanks for that understanding. And we have a parent who has joined us, and I will ask her to share, what is the challenge that she's facing, and then you can help her out.
Hi, Veena.
Shalini,
good afternoon, Veena.
Good afternoon.
I have 2 kids. When my older kid was growing up, I was working. I could not spend a lot of time with my older kid, but I was home while my second kid was growing up. I feel that it has greatly impacted my first child in a adverse way. She doesn't connect with me the way I connect with my younger kid. She's an introvert and is a teenager now. She shies away from taking a lead in opening up with the world and making connections, maybe friends. So how can I help her out? Because she is not that connected with me. So whatever strategies I give her to be comfortable in her company, she's not able to take that advice in that way. So I need your help in how to connect with her.
Okay. Now, what makes you believe that she's an introvert? Just because she doesn't speak with you or share herself with you? Is that what makes her an introvert in your eyes?
No, she is 15 now, and yet she doesn't have 1 or 2 close friends or somebody with whom she interacts with. She do level 1 type of communication, hi, hello, assignments, taking feedback on maybe dancing within the group, but not beyond that. Say, during the lockdown also, I tried that 2 of our close by neighbor friends come and they spend some time together. Whatever they say, suppose we want to go to McDonald's, she will go, even if she doesn't like, but the fear of leaving alone, FOMO sort of a thing, they are saying that I'll do. But I don't put my perspective that this is what I want to do, this is how I should do. वो अपना perspective नहीं है, in the sense that I don't put myself assertively or feel confident enough that I can put my point of view.
Okay. So the very first thing here is accept the child the way she is. Okay. No more trying to change her. Okay. Because probably, her friend circle, her teachers, people around her, the environment apart from her house would have made enough try to change her. Right now, when we also start to change her, we are validating the actions of what others did. Right?
Okay.
So I will not change her. If she is happy by herself, that's fine. Okay. My warning sign should be if she's actually becoming lonely, she's not coming out of the room, she's not talking, she's all the time on her bed, she is, completely in herself. Okay, there are no interactions happening, there are no laughters, there are no activities. If those things are happening in her life, then probably she has become this person who likes to be herself and is comfortable in her company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the very first thing is accept her the way she is, no more changing her. Right?
Okay.
Now I can understand your anxiety because, when you are looking at her as a mother, you might be, comparing her with children of her age, girls of her age, their extrovert nature, their comfort with other people, and that might create some kind of, worry within you that how she will take her life ahead. Right?
True.
But trust me, the time you accept her and stop initiating the changes, that is the time when she will be open to start working on herself.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think I just want to add, Veena, I heard a little worry in the account that this parent shared that, I think one is accepting, whether your child is introvert or not. That's one piece. But the other piece is also, is my child, is she going to be able to, face the world when it's time? Is there a confidence issue related to it? Or is she more anxious? Is she just becoming, she's not facing the world or dealing with challenges or situations because she's scared? I think that is what I sensed. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Absolutely correct. My worry is not that she is not interacting with others, but she is obeying others. In the sense, if somebody says do this, she will do that. In a project assignment, if somebody says, okay, I'll do these things and you do this, even if she is not comfortable, she'll do that instead of saying that I'm comfortable doing the cover page or doing a calligraphy, or instead of a cafe, I want to simply eat a Mac burger. So putting yourself and understanding your own feelings and putting it assertively, because she hasn't done it so far. She has been brought up with housemaid and my in-laws, and wherein they did it very rightly. As you groom a child saying do this, do this, do this, that's the way we have also been kept while we were growing up. And with this, the autonomy part saying this, I want to do this, get lost. So you haven't exercised that particular right so far. Even if you are a teenager, suddenly if now you want to do that, you don't have that leeway which you were doing at when you were 6 or 7, trying out new things, and this is what I like, this is what I don't like. I was doing what I have been asked to do. Now even I am doing what I have been asked to do. Maybe it's friends now or some other one now, but that mindset change from kid to adolescent, I feel somewhere that change piece is missing, where I feel worried. How can I help that?
Yeah. So see, few things here. Some children become very obedient when they are growing because of their environment. Okay. And this obedience take away the right of rebel. Right? Now, when you gauge that she is got into this, what has been your communication with her? have you been trying to change her, or have you been trying to talk to her ki why are you doing certain things where you are uncomfortable? What is making you do this? See,
I asked her specifically. For
okay.
example, recently there was she's in 10th standard, and they wanted to go out for some lunch or a party close by one friend's birthday in the society. Although she didn't wanted to go a far off location because it has been 2 years, she hasn't moved out of house because of COVID and such restrictions. But since the friend has said that we'll go to a far by place and do a party at the cafe, she was not comfortable. Still, she said yes. I asked her, do you think that you should go? Prima facie, do you agree going to that particular place so far off and watching a movie or having a lunch or dinner outside? We haven't stepped out of the house. She said, I'm not comfortable. But even I don't go, these people would not change the location because of me. And I only have these two friends. So I can't simply say no to them or ask them, you go along without me. I will be feeling pathetic sitting at home. So neither I can convince them, nor I feel comfortable doing that. But I don't feel, what choice do I have? Okay. These are the only two people. In 11 schools will change. I don't have any friends there, so I don't want to miss on these two people also. This got me worried that because of fear of something, you are not doing what your heart says, which is a wrong thing to pick up at this particular age.
Okay, I would put it across differently here. I feel she validated the situation very well. She contemplated all the pros and cons of the situation, and then she decided to go ahead to this far off place. See, again, what I'm trying to say here is look at the problem in a holistic way, right?
Okay.
Now, when you are looking it as a mother, you are looking at, her inability to say no. You are looking at she is not comfortable, yet she's saying yes. You are looking at that if she doesn't go with them, okay, who else she has, right? So you're making on those. But then now let's change the perspective. She looked at, I have two friends, who will not agree to my request of change of location. So let me go and have some fun with them. Okay, what is that? I will get sitting at home. I've been home since 2 years now. Right? Okay, so what I'm saying is just change. And it's a very good contemplation that she did. Okay, that moving out of her comfort zone, being in an uncomfortable position and still
willing to
enjoying, being there with the people whom she likes, yet she's uncomfortable, talks a lot about her, that she is capable of, managing situations. She's capable of being comfortable in uncomfortable zone, right? She is ready to work with, people, maybe sometimes via surrender, maybe sometimes evaluating the plus and minuses of the relationship. She's taking decision. So I feel a lot of good here.
Okay.
Right. But then what is happening is, as a mother, when you look at it, you are looking at the inabilities. Whereas I am changing these inabilities and looking it as the abilities.
Friends, yeah.
Yeah,
right?
that's a big shift in my eye opener thing. Because I was thinking from the lenses that because of that authoritarian upbringing wherein my in-laws have been teacher, and that too very strict one, and the process I have undergone my own journey as a parent, and my childhood was being very loving, caring, and that sort of environment wherein even raising a voice is termed as that never ever I've heard. But here it has been normal. Volume has been 60, 80, 100 decibels, which you even can't think of in a 60 child, that sort of environment. So that's why probably I felt that person has been shy or not able to express. But I think you're right. If I see from a different lens, then she has grown up with 100 decibel as the normal range, not with me, like I have come with the 20 decibel as the normal range. So probably that could be the reason. Probably I could not see that shift, that she has learned how to be comfortable in an uncomfortable company also.
What
Thank you
happens
so
here
much.
is, so what happens here is, see, you are looking at your child as a mother. I'm looking at your child as a counselor.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not relatively worried. Okay. I'm not relatively concerned. Okay. I'm looking at a problem from a top level perspective. You're looking at directly. ठीक है, तो थोड़ा तो इफेक्ट आएगा ना, मतलब when you are looking at a problem of your dear one, you cannot be as a counselor, then फिर मेरा क्या होगा?
True.
And why will we reach out to Veena at all then?
Right? So
True.
it is like that. See, when we love our relationships, we are always looking it from the protection perspective. And the time we look at the situation from protecting, changing, making it healthier, making it better, हमारे अकल पे पर्दा पड़ जाता है.
I think, parenting is 90% fear, 10%, logic and rational. We're always operating out of, what if my child is not able to do this? What if something will go wrong? I should be able to.
I will change that.
Yeah.
I think you should be, so what if my child goes wrong?
Right.
I will
hold her hand and walk her through. That's my job.
Yeah. So change that what if to so what.
So what?
What if brings fear, anxiety. Correct. So what gives you confidence?
And also to your child, because failure is a part of life. And knowing, and to our fellow parent here, your daughter is 15 or 16, I think. My daughter is going to be 6 next month. And children gauge on our energies, even if you're not saying it outrightly. Like I've shared this with Veena earlier, that she doesn't want to do online class, she doesn't want to do homework unless I am with her. So her primary requirement is that you put me in your lap and you make me to understand, and you write it, I will do it. So her primary requirement is, can you teach me? Right. Now I am failing there because I have my work, I have other things, and you're going to school, so the teacher is supposed to teach you, but there is that emotional need. If I'm not able to fulfill that, I cannot expect the behavior to happen, right? So, but there are times when she will, not finish her homework or something, and then I said, no, you have to finish your homework, only then, we're going to do this or play or whatever. And then one day, she finished, and she actually wrote very nicely, like a nice handwriting. And she said, are you happy now? And it took me back. I was like, okay, you know what? That pressure that I'm adding onto my child is actually making her feel that this is the only way this person is going to be happy. And that's not what I want. And I had not said it, but it was my energy of, imposing on it.
Yeah, it's also like this, Shikha. See, when parents are fighting to better the world of the child is also fighting the same battle to satisfy the parent.
Yeah, that, and you don't want to enter there. It's a very risky road.
The problem is, we are not ready to look at the battle of our children.
Right.
We are only looking at the fight that I am fighting.
I'm going through, yes.
Right? Okay. Yeah. So if you look at the battle my child is also fighting, you will understand what is happening in them. Right. Your outlook will change, your perspective will change.
Right.
Right.
Great. So thank you for that understanding, Veena. And if our parent has a follow-up question, maybe, in the interest of time, we will move on to the next question. But I think Veena has agreed to, help you further, if you write to her, I will share her email address, and you can write to her and see if there is any further understanding you need to develop there.
Thank you, Shikha, and thank you, Veena. That's all. Probably I'll just ask her later on. Thanks.
Yeah, you can write to her.
Thanks.
Thank you. Feel free to hang around because we'll be taking up another question. That will be our third and last question. If you have any experience to add there, it will enrich our conversation. So, Veena, the third question that we got was from a gentleman whose children are now 18 and I think 14. The boy is older. This gentleman, used to travel a lot as when his children were young. As a result, he literally missed out on, the first, I think, 10, 12 years of their life, which is kind of foundational, right? So he was like, not even a Sunday daddy. Because, he's constantly traveling. Not even traveling, he was posted elsewhere. So, in postings, it becomes difficult. So what has happened is he feels that there is a lack of connection. Thankfully, because I think of the work that the mother and the additional family would have done, these children are very determined. They're hardworking, they're sincere, they have paved their way of what they want to do. Very different from what the parents, chosen professions are, but these children have gone into completely different, areas. In fact, the older boy is now studying in the US in a university, a course of his choice. So the reason I'm giving that background is to say that, he's doing pretty well. So this parent's worry is not about, whether he will go out in the world, do well or not. His worry is, my children are grown up. I missed out on the initial years. What do I do so that, I can create a relationship for a lifetime, that connection? Or when we grow old, we can still have a cup of chai, sitting across and making conversations. So what does he do?
Yeah. So I think this is, a very obvious scenario that I see in people working in defense largely, right? Because they're also, the men is on
the move,
and the mother stays back with the child. Okay, if only the mother is not working, right? So she stays back with the child, and it is like, the single parent raising the children. Right? I think somewhere, all these years, though you are saying that he was not the Sunday daddy also, I think what he should feel comfortable is he would have, he looks very aware to me, right? So he would have tried to establish, connect with them some way or the other, a chitti, a phone call, a WhatsApp, some discussion, some conversations, right? So here I sense the guilt and the anxiety in parent that I could not do it. I need to do it now. Whereas I'm not sure if the children also feel that, or it is coming through the child that you were never there for us. Right? So I'm little, hesitant in making a lot of opinion here because I really
problem
don't
for
know
the child.
Yeah, I really don't know the context. If it is just the guilt that I felt I could not be there in their, developmental areas, and I did not made an effort in my limitations also, then the guilt is fine. Okay. But then if you made you made use of all the available resources and you tried to still establish the connect and the children is fine, then I will ask the question that what is the fear in you? What is bothering you? Do you think that my children have grown up, so now I'm going to be into an emptiness syndrome that I cannot definitely recreate those moments, but I will be, missing all of that. And, I would be not be, probably I will not be spending. The time is gone. That's what I would say.
Yeah,
The time is
like,
gone.
I mean, for the lack of a better word, but parents become irrelevant. That's what parents feel. Children don't feel like that, but parents feel.
Correct. So I actually want to understand the fear aspect of it. Okay. Because if it is coming from the child, that Papa, you were not there for us. We missed you. Right? Then it has to be answered differently. Okay. Right. But if it is not this case, the child has never expressed, but because I feel I did not do it, right? What are my fears? Okay. Why do you think that I should, create that connection? Do you feel aloof when you are with your children? Right?
Right.
Do you feel ignored? Do you feel that they have their own world? And definitely, as children grow, they create their own world.
Right.
So, are you trying to fit yourself now
in their world?
So, yeah. In their world. So I need to really understand this, Shikha, to probably answer it better.
Yeah, so I'll just share from what I understood, because I called each of these parents to get a sense of, my understanding was that he feels that, when, as I grow old, and my child has a life of his or her own, he will not, need me anymore. And my response to him was that you should feel proud. Your child has done well. Imagine he still needed you at 25. That would be the worst scenario, But I understand the emotional, vacuum that, my children don't need me anymore.
No, so I think this is coming more from the emptiness that he is feeling inside. That when I had time to cherish those moments, make memories, enjoy, fight, be authoritative, be submissive, be passive, be assertive. I was not there then. Now they don't need me.
Is that true though? So Is that true that children don't need their parents, after they're 20, 25?
It is, it depends from children to children, I would say. Right? See, now let's take my case. Okay. Married, settled in my house. Okay, I have my own responsibility. How much do I go and meet my mom? It's all over the phone. Right? When I'm comfortable, when I'm free, when I'm feeling relaxed, I say, okay, chalo, mummy se milke aate hain.
Right.
Right? So, if the question is straight that do I need my mom, the answer is yes. How do I show that need?
And for what do you need? You, of course, don't need her to buy you a dress, anymore, or, make you a meal.
Yeah, I just need her because, mom is there.
Yeah, it's that connection.
I feel safe. I feel secure. That, okay, mom is there. Right? But then I cannot show that need. Probably I show that need by calling her a few times a day. Right? I probably, buy her medicines, buy her what she needs, all of that. So that is my exhibition of need.
Right.
Okay. But then saying that do children need mom or do parents are different for different people. What relationships you had with them. I have seen children who just don't require, they just say that I don't want to hear about them.
Yeah.
Right. I also know of children who will call 10 times, be a boy or a girl.
Yeah.
Right. So it all goes by relationship dynamics. And I'm sure if the children has grown to this level, the mom would have subconsciously made sure that she would have bought in the elements of that, fatherly support into them. She would have justified the absence. She would have tried to fill in those gaps.
Right.
She would have stood by these, moments.
Right. The father was not available.
Yeah. So she would have not created a negative opinion of the man in the house. She would have probably more fueled their, thinky. Because of our requirements, he's not there. Right? Okay. So I think for me, it is, I'm talking out of my own assumptions of this question. But then I would definitely love to, hear him out and understand him, and then probably address it in the right way.
Right.
Can I share a parent's perspective into a particular thing? Right? The way Veena said that probably depends upon the child to child what time he needs parents or doesn't. So while I was working, my daughter, who was 3 year old, she went to my brother-in-law's house for a week's time. She was 3 year old and she could comfortably stay a week without even calling me. That was the level of comfort factor that she enjoys with my in-laws, right? But my son, who is a 8 year old now, and my mom had a COVID, so I had to go there and spend some time with her. Even the second day, he asked me, Mom, when I will come to your house? I said, probably tomorrow morning, I'll bring you up. He never wakes up early in the morning. He waked up at 4 o'clock, picked up from the diary, dialed my number and landline number, and called my father. When his mom, she said she is going to pick me up in the morning. So my daughter, even if 3 year old didn't wanted me, my son, who is 8 year old, he's fairly independent. If you talk about studies, I was helping my daughter till 8th standard to complete her charts, everything, homeworks, following it up and learning her the formulas of what is blue withdrawal, what's copper sulfate, and whatever it is. But my son, who is in 3rd standard, even if he does his work, he said, Hindi, I don't want to do it. Simple blank. There is no benefit in learning Hindi, so I would not do it. I said, okay, don't do it. That was her assignment, his assignment 2 days back. And he was literally failing him. He was just getting 2 out of 10. And I said, what's this now? Okay, Mom, I'll do that on my own. He learned from his mistake. He'll do his own. He never comes back to me that, okay, teach me now.
Right.
So that's the level of dependence or independence in different aspects. Say maybe emotionally, he's more attached to me, but doing his chores and everything, he's more independent at this age. On the other hand, with my daughter, she is not attached emotionally initially, but she was dependent on chores that she wanted me to help her out with.
So what would you say, Veena? What?
So here there are multiple things. Okay. Again, I will hold ourselves responsible for this. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if you look at when we have our first child, okay,
True.
The parenting is very different.
Yeah.
Right? We make the child believe that, you are the princess of our, world. And, we are there for everything that you require. Okay, that's one. So we are over cautious about everything. Little cry, we would run. Okay, we would always want to hold, right? So our parenting style itself is very different for our first child.
And second child,
Second thing is, you were working.
True.
Okay. So you also tried to, overcome your guilt of not being around your child for 5, 6, 8, 9 hours. You were trying to be more, loving, caring, supportive. And these were various means by which you were spending more time with her. So she got used to it.
True.
Okay. Now the second child, okay, is basically, I call it a survival for existence. Okay, right? Because the second child knows, and as a parent, I also know that what mistakes I did in my first, parenting. So I will not, so I would start correcting all of that, right? So that is why the second child is survival of existence. The second child learns, right? And you would always see that the second child will be naughtier, okay, demanding, expecting, pulling, taking it, very authoritative, whereas the first child would be submissive and all that, right? Plus,
True.
you were there for your second child throughout.
True.
Okay, so definitely the personalities would shape up accordingly. And it is not just your first child, any first child you take up, they would almost fall into the same set of definitions that you gave. Overloved, first child of the house, right? Everybody is showering love. What the child would do? The child will
Around
enjoy.
and yeah.
But how to let go of the guilt that you had done so many mistakes in that parenting the first child?
Yeah, so that's a different thing. I think for that we need to connect and we need to
Another
understand and
session.
start
Yeah.
addressing.
First
True.
is, I think, don't operate from that guilt, because I think it's a very twisted compass to steer your boat. It happens to me also, because I'm working 9-10 hours, but I've make I've kind of taken this conscious decision that when I switch off work, I declare it to my daughter that Mama is available now. I've done my work, and my work meaning my homework. I've finished my homework. I've sent it to my teacher, and now I'm available. But when I'm available, I'm 100% with you.
Yes,
No phone,
that is important.
no laptop, no TV, nothing. I will sit down and we play Peppa Pig and whatever, and she tells me the dialogue what to speak. But the idea is that and I think somewhere I read that 15 minutes is all you need on a daily basis to undo all of that guilt.
Right. And I think that constant thought that I was not with my child.
Yeah.
See, remember that your child also don't need you throughout.
Correct.
Both of you need to have that break.
Yeah.
To accept and understand and enjoy the company.
Enjoy the company. Yes.
Right. So like now, since today I have been busy till now. Okay. My son told me, Mama, next appointment, please cancel. I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll try. I gave it a try. It worked. Now I have my KRA given by him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I need to honor that KRA. Now, though the KRA looks big and I'm scared, I know that 20 minutes, maybe 1 hour, he'll be bored of me and he'll be like, okay, I'm doing what I want.
Now you can go and work.
Yeah. So I think, that guilt of I used to work or I am a working mother is coming from your own inner frustration. It is not coming because the child is telling you that you are not spending time. The child doesn't need so much time of yours. You need to understand that.
I think that is a fundamental shift we as parents need to get, that whether you were working or even the other parent situation that we were discussing, that transferable jobs, it's not important whether you were around when you were supposed to be around. I mean, who defined that, right? The point is, what are you doing now? And today, I mean, and this is an episode I shared with, I think, Veena a couple of times when we spoke before. Ask your child. It just makes your life so much more easier. And you don't have to use your graying brains and, old cells. Your child will tell you, this is what I want. And just do that. Unless it's like jumping off a cliff, don't do that. But I mean, take the lead of your child and, it becomes easier for you. The connection is better and everything. Closing thoughts, Veena. So how would you wrap this up?
Yeah. So what I would like to tell parents is that, see, teenaging is a different ball game altogether. Okay. It is very tough to understand what is happening in the child's life, right? They are biologically growing.
Yeah.
They are cognitively growing, right? They are making common sense to the world around. They are, kind of a quest of who am I? They're establishing their identity also, right? So you would see a lot of changes in their behavior. You would see someone who was, very dependent has slightly, started moving away, right? You would see some children trying to, get a lot of reassurance, right? Lot of validation of their action, right? You would see various varieties around you. Okay? Very important here is accept your child in as is format.
Right.
Okay? Right now, my child needs my validations, needs my reassurance, needs my approvals, and so be it.
Right.
Right? The entire game here is we are trying to play a win-win match, not to, make somebody lose and, make someone win. Right? So be with your child. Okay? Accept them. Right? That is one. Second thing is, whenever a question comes to your mind, a doubt comes to your mind, ask yourself, why is it bothering me so much?
That's very
and then invite the third person's perspective. If I am not my child's parent, I am somebody else. Now you review. So what I'm trying to say is, do something called as perceptual positioning, meaning to say that look at the problem from a different angle,
perspective,
not as a parent.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're dealing with an adult.
Like I do. I'll give you the mantra here.
Yeah.
So the mantra here is, when I have a problem, okay, I will always look at the problem and say that, how would my dad solve this? Right? And why do I do that? Because he has been my idol. Correct? So now if as a parent, I'm caught up into a situation, I will look at it as, how a counselor will approach this, how my friend will look at it. The time you allow your brain to think differently, it will change its perspective. That is what matters or is required in parenting.
Right.
Break your own patterns. Give room for new patterns, new beliefs, right? New ways of looking at things, right? And all that will help you, right? So again, parenting is all about, irrespective of the age, is all about reflecting, what is within me which is not right, what is within me which is curious, what is within me which is getting frustrated, what is within me which is demanding
A different behavior.
Okay, why my expectations are fluctuating? Yeah. So I think when we ask these questions to ourselves, we will know the problem. But what we do is, we start giving answers ki, okay, my expectations are not met because their action was like this.
Right.
Right? I think it's more of an inward journey. It is,
certainly.
Yes, I do understand that sometimes, the environment do affect us. And I think for a minute, for a moment at least, try to look within. What is not right? Can I change my perspective?
Yeah.
Can I look at the problem differently?
Right. Beautiful, Veena. I think it's important to, and that, I think that applies to children, parents of children at any age, that you have to dissociate that, if this is my child, then he or she will think like me or behave like me. I think that thought process needs to snap as soon as the child is out in the world, that he or she is a different being.
An individual in themselves.
Right. My daughter, she, of course, she's the, life of my world, but she's also very attached to me. But at the same time, she's very different from who I am as a person. And I'm glad that she is, But, and
appreciating these differences are important.
Yeah.
Not trying to make these differences as similarities.
Right. Yeah.
This is the quest I think we need to, move on from.
Yeah. And it's very hard because, like you said, you're constantly operating out of your own patterns, and because we have been told that the pattern that I have is right. It is right for me, but it may not be right for the other person. And here the other person is your child. That distinction needs to happen. Great. I can't thank you enough, Veena. I know you've spent a lot of time with me and sharing so many beautiful insights. Of course, this is the last series, but I hope that this association will be for a lifetime, and we will continue to learn from you and, chew your brains and ask more questions as and when our children grow up and we are challenged again, and we'll reach out to you. So thank you so much.
And I think, every parent brings in their perspective. So you have been also adding a lot to my learning.
Beautiful.
Right? Okay. So I would take a liberty here to advise all the parents that,
yes,
like we all say, that we need to go to this temple once in a lifetime. You all should visit a counselor once in a lifetime. It helps.
Thank you so much, Veena, on behalf of every parent who would be watching this series, and from the bottom of my heart, so that I can see a different perspective for my kids. And I would definitely reevaluate the situation before trying to change them and figure out what I need to change in myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for, being here and,
yes,
asking those great questions.
And thank you for your, it takes a lot of courage to come out and talk, thank you so much for that. And like I said, I hope this session helped. But if you have further questions, do feel free to reach out to Veena, and, she'll guide you what next. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.